October is a strange transition time for gardeners. On the one hand, we just had these beautiful, luscious spring and summer gardens. And thinking about winter makes us sad because we know we're not going to be out there so much. But the good news is fall is beautiful. I have so many things that are blooming right now in full color that look amazing. I want to show you what is looking awesome in my October garden. So one of the first things to point out to you is my tropical hibiscus. I have two of them that are looking awesome in my waterfall beside my pool. Now my pool might not be looking that awesome right now, so we're gonna leave that part out. But the hibiscus, it is tropical style, so really it is not going to be winter hardy necessarily in my area because I am in zone 8A in Southeastern North Carolina. So the tropical hibiscus really wants to be a little warmer. Zones 10 and 12 is where it's going to thrive. But that has lived with me now for 2 years. Last year I dug it out of my waterfall, brought it into my greenhouse, and then put it back out here again. This year I'm going to try something different. I'm a little too lazy to dig the things out again. This time I'm going to try to overwinter them with additional kind of padding and covering over their roots, and also I'm going to, use a frost blanket to cover over the tops of them. So that is my idea, and I have been successful keeping a tropical hibiscus alive in my ground outdoors for the winter anyway, so I'm going to do the same thing with them. Incidentally, while we are making our way to the next thing I want to show you, this is the tropical hibiscus that I've had in my ground. This is its 4th year living with me. So as you can see, it still has a flower on it right now. We have lots of blooms still coming. This one, because it was in my ground, actually started blooming later, probably a solid month later than the other tropical hibiscus that I had, both in my waterfall as well as in pots. So, but you can see, it still loves living with me. The blanket flower. The blanket flower is something I talk about all the time, and it makes it into every one of my garden tours because it blooms prolifically for me. So here we are in October. The blanket flower is looking amazing. I still have tons and tons of buds, so more flowers are going to be coming. The pollinators, if you can see right here, my little bee friend, are still loving these flowers. So I have nothing bad to say about them at all, except for one thing. Deadheading them stinks. I have so many blanket flowers. It's a big job to deadhead. The Bougainvillea, however you like to say it, or whatever is right, is on its second flush for me right now. So you saw this as part of my garden tour back in the very, very early summer. This baby is just gorgeous, and I love how just very light and feathery the flower petals are. So for the fact that it's coming for a second flush just makes me so happy. Now, it's extending its branches quite widely, and I feel like it belongs in some sort of espalier. But this baby is really hardy in warmer zones than mine. I think it wants a zone 9 or 10 really. So I'm not sure how it's going to do this winter. This is my first year having it. I probably will take it indoors rather than leaving it out and trying to baby it outside. I think I'll bring it in and we'll see what happens. As compared to the tropical hibiscus that I said was non-hardy in my area technically, this is a hardy hibiscus. So these, so many of us get to enjoy. This is the Starry Night hardy hibiscus, and I absolutely love the contrast of the light and dark pink on this one. So I have lots of blooms still to come, and I have the dark foliage on this, which also adds very nice contrast to the lighter tones in this flower. So the hardy hibiscus, I recommend every single time I talk about hibiscus because, like I said, so many of us get to put them in our garden and enjoy. This pink dahlia here, I believe this one is the Sincerity. This one is hardy to zone 8. So I am right here on the line of where the dahlia is going to be a perennial. I was a little bit worried about this one for a brief time during the summer. It had started out looking so awesome and had these fabulous blooms at the start of the season, and then started looking real raggedy, and I thought either the heat stress or disease or something else had taken it, but no, it was just getting re-energized for its second flush. So that's what we're on right now, the second flush. I have lots of new buds on here that are getting ready to open, and these ones down here are the first 3 that I've had so far this flush. The dahlia is just a stunning shape, and this one in particular is such a gorgeous color. I love it. So we've seen my blanket flowers and we've seen my dahlias, which I have here in my big rock garden. I have some other things in here that I'm just going to kind of gloss over because I said I was going to show you things that are looking really good. They're not really looking that great. My black-eyed Susans are pretty much at the end of their life. They definitely suffered from disease and that heat stress this summer, so not so good. I have some mums that have been living with me for years now, so they're back again. And this yellow sunshine ligustrum, this one is the only thing that is new to me this year, and I have to say I'm so thankful for it because at a time when other things are kind of looking a little raggedy, she still looks very sunny. This viney flower right here is called the passion flower. A friend gave it to me, and you know who you are. Just a couple of days ago, this opened up for me the first time, and I'm putting a picture of that up because you have to see how absolutely unique the bloom on this plant is. The passion flower is hardy to zone 6, which is great. So that means that I can keep it for the winter and others can enjoy it as well. It does want to attach to something way bigger than what I have it on right now, but I'm telling you, it put all this height on in just a couple of months. So I think now that it has reached this height, once I get a bigger trellis for it, it's just going to want to take off. So the passion flower is also looking cool in my garden. The Fiesta, it is a tropical hibiscus, but the Fiesta hibiscus is so gorgeous in its color. It has been going for me for months now. Now this one isn't going to live outside, but it has lived with me inside for the last 2 years. So this is my 3rd year with this one. So this is this hibiscus right here. I have snake plant, I have creeping Jenny, all of which have been in this pot together for a long time. So it has survived the heat outside. It has survived the fact that we haven't gotten a lot of rainfall this summer, and things are looking good. Now it gets to be part of my autumn bench. These begonias are really sweet. I actually got them on clearance months ago, and maybe they were $1 each, and I thought, let's see if I can keep them going. Well, they have thrived for me right here in this pot. So I have a mix of colors in here. We have some shiny leaves that are very nice. They do need a bit of a break from the sun, so I have them in a place where they do get that afternoon break. But the begonias are lovely. Sun patience. Now these babies are just an annual for me, but they do bloom from spring, obviously, through fall. So they have just been a very nice touch of delicacy to the side of my garden here, right beside my fence line. I couldn't resist showing you my other dahlias. We are in my front yard now. These are Labella Grande, and these are also on their second flush. So they're 2 different styles of dahlias, but look how gorgeous they are. They just look perfect. So for October, I'll take it. My black and blue Salvia, which as you can see is aptly named, is looking good right now. She did suffer some wind damage. We had a couple of tropical storms come through this summer, and the wind really took some of her pieces and flower petals away. But right now she's looking good, and I'm thankful to have this blue and purple in my garden. Talking about mums being beautiful in your fall garden is no surprise. Many of us get to enjoy these sweet babies. This particular plant here has been with me for about 4 years now, so I can say I'm very thankful to have mums that come back with vibrant colors just so we can enjoy them for the fall. My purple verbena down there that the butterflies are absolutely loving is one of the things that is also adding beautiful color to this section of my garden. Now my gardens are in full sun and it has been hecka hot here this year. So all these things that you see still looking so lovely, they have made it through major, massive heat, and also sort of drought conditions. We have not gotten much rain here at all this summer. So verbena right there. Right here I have some echinacea. These are both double scoop echinacea varieties. This one is raspberry and this one is bubblegum. They are not in their prime right now, understand that, but this is their second flush. And so while not all the cone flowers are looking awesome right now, they are still adding these pops of color that I really, really love to see in the fall. So verbena, cone flowers, more blanket flowers as we keep talking about. And then behind me, I have these canna lilies. I have many varieties and colors of canna lilies. These are tropical beauties. I am lucky because they are perennial for me here. They have been blooming basically since the weather stayed consistently above 50 degrees this year. So they just keep going and going. You just have to cut off this section when it's done blooming, and then here you can see another baby is starting to open up for me. Also, if you know me and you've seen some of my other videos, you know that I am a crazy person for rocks. So I would be remiss if I didn't say that these rocks are still looking good in my October garden as well. So I have some more great fall color between these canna lilies here and the croton behind me. Now the croton with the really, really awesome colored leaves, that is just an annual plant. It does need to come in for the winter. It is only hardy to zone 10. But still, it's the coloring that's on the foliage. That's what makes that plant attractive. That's why people want it in their garden, and I'm happy to have it too. I was actually walking to this plant to show you next, but let me point out the Mystic Illusion Dahlia. Sure, it may not be full of big blooms right now, but you see, I have lots of buds still coming out on this dahlia. Very different look from the last one that I showed you, but I wanted to point it out because the contrast of the yellow with the dark foliage is just stunning.
I never really know what's going on. Look at me sometimes like all you want.
The Lantana. You can see why this one's an obvious choice for something that's looking great in my October garden. This baby keeps blooming and blooming. The size of this bush has gotten large, but in a gorgeous way. It is spilling over onto my front sidewalk where people will enter my front door. So the look of the Lantana is wonderful. The flowers are sweet and plentiful. Now, I will recognize that Lantana is an invasive plant in certain states. It is not here in North Carolina, and I am just enjoying this baby. And the colors are perfect for fall. My Dipladenia here is my absolute favorite thing to show you, and the reason is the vibrant color that you see here never dulled for a second the entire growing season. So not many plants, I don't think, have the flowers that when they start out at a certain vibrancy, do they keep that for their entire growing season. Now, the other thing to say about this particular Dipladenia is I did overwinter it last year, so it's actually its second year living with me here in this same pot. So amazing results from this tropical beauty. As I conclude my garden tour, I hope that you have found some ideas for maybe what would work in your garden if you'd like to see some similar colors or long-lasting blooms in your garden in October. I think that it is very helpful to watch garden tours and see how things change in people's gardens over time. So maybe I'm showing you the same plants more or less month in and month out, but you can see them come into bloom and go out of bloom, and you can see how the garden expands the whole while. I hope that part is helpful also. Thank you so much for watching, and happy planting.